Hello.
Just fell over.
Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Hi. Yeah, you're sick of us this week, aren't you? Sick of us.
Yeah, we've been on. Can't get rid of us on the internet.
No, been on tour.
Third night on the road for Shabby.
I know. Our general message went, "You're not live streaming again, are you?" I said, "Yeah."
I
was only going to go on Bassage for about 10 minutes. I thought I'll pop in and say hello, but it was awesome. Scuba was on, John was on, this lovely bloke called Mark was on, obviously our David and Baz. It was a great
Baz didn't get a word in, did he? Were you lot on?
No.
He didn't get a chance.
No.
Yeah, it's easy for him. Yeah, just to get used to it.
Sat back, relaxed. It was good. It was a good live stream. How is everybody?
Well, great. I'm just going to do our usual thing. Welcome to episode 43. Universal Shabby Reviews. Yeah,
43.
43.
I
worked it out, Tez. You'll be streaming episode 50. So there we go.
Yeah, that's the naked episode where we have to wear no clothes.
Can't wait for that
one. Oh dear. Yeah, so Shabby, you've hit 650, I believe. Congratulations.
It was such a lovely thing that I went for. I watched my video back before because this is the first time I've actually had a break to look at my comments. So I've commented on everybody who's commented it. And at the end of that video, I said 637. So from jumping from 637 to 650 was. So I couldn't do it without the people watching, the people supporting you two. Obviously, you're my main guys. And it means something. I never said anything about goals, but I remember you saying it, Matt. You'd like to get to a target in it, and it's nice when you do it, isn't it? It's lovely. So thank you to everybody that's subscribed to Shabby. Thank you all.
I can relax now. Whatever I get now is a bonus because I've got to that. I can. When you say to someone, "Oh, you're a YouTuber," and you go, "Yeah, I've got 1,000 subscribers," and it just sounds better, doesn't it? Than I've got.
Sorry.
People sort of think, "Oh, he's a YouTuber." Yeah, he's a YouTuber.
So I'm not. I can't do it. I'm thinking of like 2 or 3 off 700. So
700.
Anyone new here tonight, give
us all a sub.
Give them all a sub. The links are in the description. And we do have Jules tonight. He's our guest. He's waiting. He's
Jules Burt
having some canapes and they're waiting.
Jules Burt, brilliant. Can't wait to talk to
you. Have a lovely chat with Jules.
It's Jana night tonight.
It's Jana night. Yeah, Jules is from Plymouth as well. So
Jana.
So let's have a look in the chat. So he's there. Catch up because we're going to be behind now because we were like 2 minutes behind when it was.
Yeah, there was like.
Apologise. Yeah. Hi, Scuba. Welcome.
Scuba Pete.
That was
Michael Brown. Welcome, Michael.
Michael.
Hi, Mike.
Geek Strong's here. Evening, Geek Strong. Dino. DTM. Good evening, Dave. Welcome.
Hi, Dave.
Hi, Dave. Oh, tell Matt it's not a surprise guest. He's put the name. Well,
yeah.
I did say Wednesday who we were having on, didn't I?
I
did mention it.
We mentioned it last week.
We did.
And,
It's probably was. Yeah. Apologise. Yeah.
Lovely Paul.
Hi, Si. Bullseye on Rat.
Yeah.
Evening, sir. Evening.
Oh, I was glad you're here. Yeah.
Oh, Des. Howdy, Des.
Hey, Des.
Howdy, Des. Luke's here. Luke is a proud owner now of a Poe Dameron action figure. He's well excited.
Yeah.
Well excited. Yeah, he's got his Poe Dameron. Yeah. Just quick, to a few people, the giveaway I did, people are starting to get their figures. I've started shipping them out bit by bit. So there's a few still to go. But
how was the shipping cost you? Were you like, no, was it all right?
It's all right. I'm being generous. I'm being generous. That's why they're going out in bits because it doesn't feel as much as a sting when I'm posting. So
is that guy who won? The guy who lives on Endor. That's going to cost a lot of money.
Yeah, I'll have to use one of those big cruise ships that they had on episode 5 of Mandalorian, weren't we? Mandalorian. Boba.
Oh,
yeah.
Mando Fettian.
Yeah. Evening. Oh, there's Jonathan. Yeah. Your figure is boxed, Jonathan. It will come within a few weeks, so I will get around to doing it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Hi, Gary.
Hi, Gary.
Hi, Gary. Yeah,
The
and
lovely
Gary, your
Gary.
figure will get to your daughter soon when it's sitting there on the table boxed, saying that it'll get there.
So complicated.
I know. Well, that's a name and a half.
Yeah, well,
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
We won't forget that one. Yeah, welcome.
No, we won't forget that one.
No, we won't.
Connor's
That
here.
could be their name, Connor.
Let's talk toys. Well, we're talking something. I know that. Yeah.
It's got a little mermaid there.
Is he? Oh yeah, little mermaid.
Little
Lobot.
Lobot.
Hello,
Lobot. All right, Mr. Lobot.
Left Coast is here.
Right, Ricky.
Old Rick.
Oh yeah, mate.
Rick.
Daniel. Good evening, Daniel.
Oh,
How you doing, mate?
Hey, Dan.
G-Force is here. Hi, G-Force.
G-Force.
G-Man.
Good old G-Force. It's going to snow again, G-Force, this weekend, where we are.
Oh, Jules is here.
It's going to snow.
He's here.
Oh,
He's in the chat as well.
Mr. Bird. I'm looking forward to it. He was so good when you reached out, Matt, and said, I think Jules will come on. I thought, this is all. He's a lovely bloke. I've always liked his videos. They're very, you know what I mean?
Hi.
Calm and collective. I love him.
Hi. Hi.
Comrade BOE.
He loves that now. He loves that. We say that. Hi. Phil. Hi, Phil. How you doing, Phil?
What did you say about Phil, Tez?
The best hair in the community.
Best hair in the community.
Best hair. Andy's here. Hello, Andy. Welcome.
We still
Andrew.
Best Bin Collections. Well, that's
Hey,
hello. Welcome.
That's a new one.
Welcome. Oh, this is awesome.
We wouldn't get a new comment off a new person. We should have like a little bell.
Oh, I know. Ding, ding. We should get one of those. Yeah, we should get one of those big bells.
Hey, Mark.
Okay. All right.
I'll just do that from now on.
Yeah. Oh, hello, chocolate chip. How you doing? How you doing, Mark? How you doing?
Hey, chocolate chip.
How you doing? Yeah. There's Tim. How you, Tim?
Good old Timothy.
He's a proud owner of his new Black Series figure. He got it today. He's well happy. So I get all these. I'm glad when you send the things that you send these things out, you just hope everyone gets them, don't you? So
that goes to show how many giveaways you did, because you've spent the last 10 minutes telling everybody this.
There's a couple giveaways. They for some reason, even if you try and give away a Rose Tico for free, people don't want it. They don't want it. So I just don't want it. So Tez is having it, aren't you, Tez? You said you'll have it.
Oh, the Rose Tico. Yeah, I'm a Rose Tico. I like Rose Tico. I bought a 3 3/4 inch one because she was a peg warmer, and I felt sorry for her. And she's getting the actress was getting loads of crap in the media, and I thought, I'll buy a Rose Tico. I feel sorry for her.
Yeah, so I couldn't even give it away as a giveaway, and
I'm getting it now.
No,
thanks for last night's stream, Baz. It was awesome on your channel.
I was watching a bit of that in bed. I was watching a bit. Yeah. Oh, hi, Johnny, Greg. I always say Johnny, Greg. It's covering the bases.
There we are. Hey, lads.
Yeah, John's here. Welcome, John.
John, that was good last night.
Matt's collection. Hello.
Yeah, Paul's was really good last night.
Good. Yeah.
Jedi Barry's here. Hello, Jedi Barry. Hello, Jedi Barry.
Well, we were having an Instagram chat, and we quit the Instagram chat to watch Paul's Collectibles. How about that?
Wow, that is dedication. Yeah.
That's dedication.
That is. What time was that? 3 o'clock, probably for me.
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
You 3 o'clock in the morning, yeah.
Oh, sorry, Paul. Can't get up that. Can't stay up that late. I had to get up. I was in work for 7. Got to get up at 10 to 6. 10 to 6. Good evening, Delvian. Good evening.
Hey, Delvian, pal. Nice to see you, buddy.
What's this? Hopefully, we can have camera issues. We can have camera issues.
Oh, yeah, because the naked.
I always have camera issues.
Yeah.
So.
We'll just have blurred. It'll be very blurred. So
Pixelated.
Yes, I caught the retro. Thank you, girl. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, my friend. Yeah, that was a good cheap, lads. We enjoyed it, didn't we?
It was not. Yeah,
it wasn't too. It was chilled, wasn't it? Chilled.
It was great. A nice talk, so I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was good talking to him.
Good.
Yeah,
really good time.
Yeah, got to talk a bit about his little Bantha, which he's put the video out today. He's got the Bantha from Stan. So
God, I've not seen it. Is it out now? It's
it's nice. Yeah, they're about 156 quid if you want one. But there's a pre-order. So because of China, it's New Year now, isn't it? So the Chinese New Year. So they go. They usually go on. They usually celebrate like two weeks, but for some reason they're having a month. They're celebrating New Year for a month.
And
so all the factories are closed for a month. So it's crazy, isn't it? So,
yeah.
Have you ordered on that, Matt?
No, I've not ordered it. No.
Oh.
No, I've got to cut back.
Are you going to?
Yeah, I'm tempted.
Oh,
well, I'd like to get. I like mine with a bit of hair on them. You know me. I like straight
like a growler.
You said it, Ted. Not me. You said it.
Hold on. Like a growler.
You said it, Ted. You said it.
Like a panther. Like a growler.
He likes it with a bit of hair on it. Matt 2022. There you go.
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
Like a growler.
It's always Taz to be smutty, isn't it? Come on, Taz. Stop it.
Oh, I can't help myself.
We're going to get Jules on in a minute. Just going to say a quick thing. Yeah.
There's a lot of new names in the chat.
Yes, there is.
Awesome.
Nice.
Thank you all so much.
Lovely.
Yeah,
lovely. I'm just making sure everyone says a quick hello. So, evening, Dave.
Hi, Dave.
And
remember, if you are new and you talk in the chat, all our regulars, they are the nicest, awesomest blokes in the world. They'll all make you feel welcome.
Yeah,
every one of them. So
say anything you want.
Congrats to Dave. He's just gotten over 900, isn't it?
900, yeah.
900 well done, Dave.
Congratulations.
Nice. Everyone's flying along. Lovely. Oh, what does that there? That's ups. VTL June. Oh, she's there. Yeah, Matt's collection. Oh, Nigel Vader. There we go.
Nice. Hey, pal.
Yeah.
Evening. Welcome.
Oh, yeah, it's getting there. It's like I say.
Yeah. No rush, Matt.
If I'll show you around. I'll show you around later.
Show you around.
I have a tour.
So what's he saying? I will treasure it, Matt. Yeah.
There you
go. Thank you. Just put it. You don't have to bring it to the front, Luke. You can put it at the back of your shelf if you want to. So, I know it's not the best figure, is it? So yeah. What was that? I missed that. Oh yeah, book a no buffet. Yeah,
no buffets.
Yeah. Oh, your best mates here, Tez. Your best mates here. Lee's here.
Oh, Lee, I've got to show something. You probably.
Are you doing a video on that, Tez?
I am gonna do a video.
You doing a video?
How could you not do a video on it? It's awesome.
Is Trevor and Barry going to be in it? Is that Trevor?
Yeah, Trevor. All right, so they're going to be in it. They're going to be in it.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Oh, Rob. Hello, Rob. Welcome.
Hey, Rob. Nice to see you, pal.
There's Rob. Hold on. Keep Rob on.
Keep Rob on.
Rob's purchased something off me.
Is he the guy who's got the gun off?
I never saw vintage, but
it's
because I've got so many of these.
Palace Blaster, yeah.
This is the bendy one. It's got a bend in this one. So
don't break it. Oh, Rob's just paid.
Bend it.
The one he's getting wrapped up. I just missed the post today. So yeah.
Crazy 8, welcome Crazy 8.
Crazy.
Good to see you, Rob.
Crazy.
I tell you what, Crazy's Instagram. It's one of my favourite things to look at on Instagram. Hi, Ed.
Ed was on last week. That was awesome, wasn't it?
Yeah, popped in. That was nice. Jeff. Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
Jeff's here. Hi, Kev. Look at this.
Kicking off me effing socks.
Straight Coruscant's here. Oh, this is Darren. Welcome, Darren.
Hi, Darren.
Darren. Wow.
Happy Friday.
Wow. Ed's here.
Ed. Bloody hell, Ed. What time is it for you? About 6:30, isn't it? 7 o'clock.
6 in the morning.
Yeah. What's he doing? Getting this hazy? Crazy.
We're so global, man. We're so global.
We're global.
Yeah. Oh, well, can we just say as well that before, obviously it was a week before, so happy Australia Day for the couple of days to all Australians.
Today.
Yeah, you see that one there? See, hairy like a Jawa. See, yeah, that was in the latest Mandalorian.
Why
Hairy.
does Australia Day only lasts a day, and then Chinese New Year lasts a month.
Well,
Because the different countries, Tez.
Yeah, different
that'll
countries.
do. That'll do as an answer. That'll do.
Different culture.
Darren likes a hairy panther as well. There we go. So,
Yeah.
Don't say it, Tez.
No. Grow up.
Get a bit of echo then. Get a bit of echo. Oh, David's here. Hello, David.
Hi, Dave.
Dave. No.
I know. Well,
I'm jumping through these really quick.
Watch some of Matt's videos. You'll get the idea. So
yeah. That's that Vern. Oh, the Vern. We've got two Verns.
Retro Ed's here.
Retro Ed's.
All right, Ed's. Welcome. Connor. Oh, Vern. I'm catching up with the chat. This is good.
You were diving that, look at you.
Just trying to find new people. Oh, Lee's here. Hi, Lee.
Lee. Oh, there we go.
Happy Friday. It is.
Happy Friday, Lee.
Super family.
Yeah, Tim's right. There's 35. There's 70. I nearly had. We were at 80 a minute ago watching it.
75 as a chat.
Yeah, come on, everyone, hit that like button.
Wow.
Go on, like.
That's unheard of. Thank you so much, everybody.
Nice. Wow. Hit that like button. Do us a favour. Go on.
Yeah.
If you could do us one thing, just hit the like. Yeah.
Hit the like button.
Nice. All helps.
That one, not that one.
Oh, I've actually caught up. That's it. Look at that. Done. Wow, I'll go home now. Cheers.
Such a pro. Yeah, Matt's tired.
Flying through now. Flying through. Right.
You're in charge, Shabby. Yes.
Jules, hope you're ready. I think he's ready. Right. Here we go. Are we all ready for this?
Oh, yeah.
Welcome.
Hey, guys.
All right. Hi, Jules.
Hello.
Oh, Jules Bert's here. Brilliant.
Great, isn't it?
Yes.
How you doing, guys? All right?
Oh,
fine, thank you, my friend.
We just say we apologise. We were chatting to Jules. That's why we were a couple of minutes late. We were just, talking about.
So it's Jules' fault. Jules' fault this week.
Yeah.
Jules' last week. Jules' this week.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. we were being Janners.
So hang on a minute. With me not being from your part of the world, what does Janners mean? What is Janners?
I actually looked it up today because I thought maybe.
So, I see. So you're all from there, but you have no idea what that means.
No.
Come from Plymouth. Yeah, right, Janna.
Yeah. It was
just a thing.
It's in a poem. It's in a poem. Wikipedia, and there's about a 5-line poem. I can't remember who wrote it, but my lovely Janners. It said so. There you go.
Yeah. Everyone's saying hello to Jules. So,
hello.
Yeah, this is crazy. Yeah, so for people who don't know who Jules is, Jules, would you mind just giving us a quick sort of your YouTube and collecting, and just give us, just give us a
sure. So
your life story, whatever.
Okay.
Your horoscope, what you did last Saturday. Do you know what I mean? Something like that.
No, well, I suppose I'm of an age when I remember the original trilogy figures in the stores. So I picked up my first Palatoy 12 backs when I was 7, because that's when they were out. And I never really looked back. I've sort of collected Star Wars all my life. And it sort of became a bit of a hobby when I left school. I started picking it up when it was absolutely everywhere and no one really wanted it. It was at all the boot sales. You could still find it in shops. And I sort of picked up loads of it. And as a sort of sideline, whilst I was working for my dad, he had a fruit and veg shop in the market. I started buying and selling comics and toys and records just out of my bed set. I used to have a bed set up on the Hoe in Plymouth, and people would just come around, and I just sort of started becoming a dealer, I guess, really. Then they did the local record fairs, and there was no such thing as comic marts or comic cons back in the 80s, late 80s, certainly not in Britain. So, and not in my neck of the woods. So I joined forces with another chap called George, and he did the records and I did the sci-fi and collectibles and toys and stuff. And from that, in 92, we opened up Purple Haze, which was a shop in Plymouth. Which was
what you were talking me about, Purple Haze. Yeah.
Me and Matt spent loads of money in that shop back in the day.
Well, I mean, it was a very, very successful shop, and that ran until early 2000 when Drake Circus Shopping Centre came along. And then George and I cut our losses really because we weren't getting the second-hand stuff coming in. And although we sold all the new figures and new books and stuff like that, the real money was made from a second-hand stock coming in because there was much more profit potential there. So we moved from there online for a couple of years. Then I got married and had children, so I thought I better get a proper job. So I sort of went into the world of technology and technology retailing, which is sort of what I do today. But a few and most of the collection sort of went into storage really, except the books, which I also collect a lot of vintage paperbacks, because they're easily shelved. But boxes of toys just sort of went in the loft. And it was 3 years ago, March 2019, I dug out the first few boxes of my Star Wars toys. I thought, I'm going to film myself looking at these, often for the first time in 10, 15 years, really, of looking at them.
I remember those videos.
It was fantastic. I had a ball. I really did. And
I just couldn't believe how clear your bubbles were. You open the boxes, you pulled them all out. I was like, look at it. How clear they are.
They've never been on display, really. They've just been. Even now, unfortunately, I've got a box and it's loose Star Wars figure. It's loose carded. It's a box of carded, which I've got. There's some of the figures behind me. I've got GW acrylic cased up. None of my stuff's graded, but apart from that, I've got out all the room I've got to get out at the moment. Although I'm working on trying to get a bit more of it out. So that's a work in progress. But I've got my all-time favourite carded figures. They're all out on display now. But
all right.
I mean, so I was a retailer for 10 years. So I used to go to shows. We had absolutely incredible stuff through our hands. We were offered incredible stuff. I mean, it could go on. I mean, I remember being offered the original artwork for the British Quad by Tom Chantrell. So the original Star Wars British poster, having the original artwork in front of you.
Wow.
$5,000 it was. Can you imagine what that's worth now?
I can imagine.
That was quite an eye opener. And just the vintage stuff we had through our hands. It's sort of like a case of TIE bombers. I'll never forget that. So a whole case of TIE bombers, which came back from a dealer in Exeter, and he brought them back from Japan, and he put them out at £40 each in his cabinet. Couldn't sell them.
Why is it wrong? Yes.
I mean, we had one in the shop for 240, and it took about a decade to sell because no one really collected the diecast. It was all about the figures.
Yeah, I think I remember that, and it was there for quite a long time.
Ages, absolutely ages.
That's bad.
I know. But we always did well on figures. So when the shop opened, I mean, I had some fantastic finds in the late 80s when I built my own collection up, and I've told the story a few times now, but on Royal Parade, which you guys will know, where all the buses are on, where Pizza Hut is now, there used to be a newsagent's called Muldooney's. They had a branch in Clinton and Devonport, but their big one was on Royal Parade. And when they shut down in 1987 or 88, I was doing my dad's banking, so he banked with NatWest. So I walked past Muldooney's and Royal Parade, glanced over, and I thought, blimey, that looks like vintage Star Wars figures. So I went in, and there was this big wire basket full of last 17 figures. 29p each they were. 29 were also carded. So I take the entire thing up to the counter. I have all of these.
I'll buy each one of them, and you can double your money. How about that? I'll give you 61p each.
Well, some of the figures I've got today came from that very find. But there was like three pop-up R2 lightsabers in there. Everything was Tri-Logo, and it was all tail end stuff. Luke Stormtrooper. My yak that I've got today came from that haul. The one I've got. In fact, I've got him.
Right Jules.
That came from that haul.
Oh, look at that!
Look at the guy's just there.
Just look at the condition. The condition, Jules, is ridiculous.
And it's on the pot.
Never been on the shelf, really.
Very nice.
Incredible, isn't it? So
I did exactly the same thing, but because I grew up in Chester, Jules.
Yeah.
I did exactly the same thing in Woolworths. I was sort of out of I was collecting Transformers and other things. I was getting a bit older, and in Woolworths, I think they were all last 17 were all 49p, and I had £10 of my birthday money left. And I walked past. I thought, nah. Then almost got to the till. And I thought, well, what else am I going to spend time? And I went back and just grabbed what I could. It's so lucky.
Brilliant. I mean,
So
just
lucky.
the stuff I remember leaving behind. Huge stacks of Slave Ones at $7.50. There was, I picked up everything I could. There was Doctor Who colouring sets still sealed from the mid-70s, poster art sets. A set of ABBA dolls I left behind. ABBA dolls. Colour toy. Yeah, a set of them. There was fist fighting Mego figures. So I picked up Batman and Robin, but they had fist fighting Lizard and fist fighting Captain America. These are on Palatoy, of course. These go for about $2,000 each nowadays. The Action Man stuff I left behind, I could cry, but I didn't really know anything about that at the time. I know one of the rarest Action Man sets is the Cricketer. And it was a set of cricket accessories. So it was like the ball, the stumps, some cricket, what they put on their legs, the protection.
The pads,
the pads, But the ball alone is like 50 quid. And in this shop, they had a cardboard box, and it was full of these carded accessories. There must have been 30 of this cricket one in there, 25p each. And that's like £300-400 for that one now. And they were just there. I just left behind. There was so much, you just couldn't believe it. You just couldn't believe it. I mean, mini rigs, like you couldn't move for the mini rigs, but big ships. I remember Slave One. There was a pile of talking Daleks, Tom Baker dolls from Doctor Who, everything back to about 1974, 75, which is when they started trading up to 88. There was so much of it. I mean, you just couldn't believe it. I remember the Star Wars though. That was trip number one, and I went back every day for about 2 weeks picking stuff up until it was all gone, and I didn't get it all. A couple of other dealers found out about it and came down and bought a hell of a lot of stuff. There was old corgi cars. There was die-cast stuff that 70s. I didn't really know what was worth what really, So, and even back then, I was spending so much. I got through a few quid that week or two, but hey, it's paid off, hasn't it? That was a fantastic find,
What toys stand out to you when you were a kid? I mean, now, so say for example, you had to keep a couple of toys. Which are your favourite, Jules?
Definitely my Star Wars stuff was always the toys that I loved. I did get into the Doctor Who, still into Doctor Who, but I don't collect it anymore. I sold I had quite a collection of Doctor Who stuff, but I gave it all to my business partner George, because he's got one of the best Who collections in the country. Certainly in the top 5 easily, So I had some bits that he didn't have. I've got some of it back. I got behind me some of the old books and that. But back then I was into Doctor Who and Star Wars. That was my main two things. And then everything else I liked. Star Trek. There was Blake 7, Battlestar Galactica, Space 1999. But anything sci-fi space related I was sort of into really. And that's always been the case, even today, of course. But that was the early the seeds of starting to buy and sell. And you could go to the boot sale and come back with bags of figures, literally bags. Even when the shop opened in '92, we had 3 different retail locations. But in the first one, we had the Palatoy Cantina behind the till, and on it we had what loose figures we had in and around it, and all figures across the board were 75p each. There was no this one's rarer than that one or anything like that. Everything was just 75p.
92,
I mean, because they were so plentiful. In other collectors' shops that were around at the time, they had signs up saying no Star Wars, because they just couldn't deal with it. There was just too much of it around, But then over time, I think in 93 or 94, we did. I wrote the Purple Haze Guide to Collecting Star Wars Figures. So it was an A4 guide that was just photocopied in effect, with a card color and a cover. and it was a guide to collecting the Star Wars figures with a rough guide for Star Wars Empire Jedi Tri-Logo, what it was worth loose. And we would use that as a basis for buying and selling. So we'd pay 50% if you would bring it to us, and we'd sell them at this sort of retail price. And that was, I believe, the first ever British price guide to Star Wars figures in the UK. Then in about 97, 98, the British comic book price guide came out, and I did a really comprehensive Star Wars price guide for that book as well. And a year or two after that, then the first Steve Sansweet book came out, Concept to Screen to Collectible. And then that led to the Tomark guide, and then, well, the rest is history. And that's what coincided with the hobby becoming absolutely insane, you know, through the 90s. A bit like Doctor Who, there was no new product, there's no new Doctor Who, there was no new Star Wars. And our shop back then filled that void for people. And it scratched the itch, and we knew there was a market there. It was just waiting for the companies like the BBC or Lucasfilm to catch up, really. And that was sort of the origins of the business. And we would have people bring us stuff. I mean, incredible stuff that you wouldn't believe. You know, stuff back to the 40s and 50s, old die-cast toys. We'd have comic collections come in sometimes, you know, by the thousand. You know, you'd have 1,000 old 60s comics. But the best thing that I would get excited about is when some kid would come in. He'd had the figures as a kid, grown up. He was in his early 20s now, out on the booze with his mates. Oh, I got this bag of Star Wars figures. Oh, you buy them. And you'd look at the bottom of the carrier bag and you'd see a plastic Cape Jow or a Yak or something like that. You could say, 15 quid, mate. Yeah, brilliant. So many times, you know. I mean, they were the days. But to get the good stuff, you know, we had customers who were looking for things, and as you remember, we had the display case in the shop of
the green. Was that the green one? The green felted one? Yeah,
that's it. And had my that had my loose collection on, and that same display case I've now got at home, and I'm going through that collection now because it's been out on display all these years, and some of the figures have got
them.
and some of them have got a bit faded. So I'm gonna be replacing a few of them now. But you know, they were the days, and we would go to the shows, and this is in the time when you had like the Twilight Zone. You had Jim, Mr. Star Wars Stevenson. A few of the guys are still around. Steve Chamberlain, I believe, is still trading. George and I got offered the Toy Tony. What ended up being the Toy Tony collection. Never forget that. We're at Toy Fair. You know, we were dealers. We were at a Toy Fair spending money, and they said, "Here's the list. What do you think?" And an unnamed dealer was going to go in with us, and we'd split it. But I seem to remember it was there was all the card backs and all the bubbles, and it was 16 grand to buy, and we were going to go in for 8 each on it. But,
and just think those card backs have been worth a fortune now if we didn't tamper with them when they just left them as they were.
I'd say, well, this is what we love about Jules Birdman. You could just sit here all night listening to it. You can say, I love it. I know. I've never been this quiet ever.
I know. He's usually quite loud. He just, I'm
fascinated. I love this sort of stuff.
Effectively, I moved down to Plymouth on January the 23rd. I remember this. 1999, and my mate said, "You'd like Purple Haze," and every time I went in to Plymouth, because it used to be near CNA, didn't it? The escalator.
Right, CNA up the escalator.
CNA up the escalator, and I used to look, because I must have met you, because you must have been in. You know, I was like,
absolutely,
Says he's the one who stole the Imperial Dignitary from your shop. He's got it in there.
They were quite well protected.
They were all up. They were all up. So I've got many things in here which comics. I used to spend on comics as well.
Well, we did it all. There was nowhere else really in the southwest, sort of this side of Bristol, where you could pick up like the Tomar or Action Figure Guide. The collector shops, sort of in the 10 years that we were trading, the collector shops came and went, and then. Sort of late 1990s, early 2000s, eBay really took off, and it sort of changed the collector's hobby completely. And even back then, once eBay started in like 97, 98, big for us, the rare stuff that we had including comics, ended up going on to eBay because we could just turn it over quicker. But we had a fantastic business, but we just ran out of somewhere to trade from, which was pretty central, and other circumstances sort of contributed to us knocking it on the head. But my business partner George, he still trades now online. He's on eBay, and he loves it. And in fact, we're off to the West Point Toy Fair in a couple of weeks up in Exeter.
Yeah.
First toy fair.
Jules, where does the love of books come from? Because who's watching, Jules also collects a lot of vintage books, which are fantastic. Where does that come from, Jules?
So I suppose my parents are both big readers, and I sort of got into vintage paperbacks when I was about, I don't know, I started collecting the James Bond. I started collecting the Doctor Who ones when I was a kid. I was only 6 or 7, and they were the books I learned to read on, to be honest, But then as a teenager, I started looking at my dad's bookcase, and he had like a full set of all the James Bond paperbacks in the beautiful pan editions, and then my mum had some Agatha Christie's, and that sort of grew my love of these 50s and 60s and 70s paperbacks. So, and then I think it was about 1990, I started collecting old Penguin books, and they started in 1935, so they're really vintage. And I thought, well, I'll just collect up to 1970. That'll be from 1935 to 1970. But in that time, they published about 6,500 books. And I've nowhere near got them all, but I have probably got 4,000, I would expect. But the entire paperback collection now is, I reckon, about 13,500 paperbacks. Of different publishers from right around the world,
I like it myself. I grew up reading my mum, Anne Marie, she goes into Enid Blyton, the Magic Roundabout Tree, and the Roundabout Tree, and the Famous Five, and all that. So I love old vintage books like that. So that's awesome.
Yeah, well, and once I left Purple Haze, I then joined Waterstones for when was it? Well, for about 8 years, I worked for Waterstones, the bookseller, and managed a few. I was assistant manager in the Plymouth one. Newton Abbott, managed Exeter. I was a buyer for the chain, a national sort of buyer. And then Waterstones got into a lot of trouble because they were owned by HMV, and they changed ownership, and it was a different sort of a business, and the fun sort of went out of it, to be honest. And myself and a lot of people left at that point to try something a bit different, but that's not to stop my love of books. I'm always going to love books, So
but for our Americans, Waterstones is basically Barnes and Nobles. It's like the same thing, you know what I mean? So
I used to get some really good bargains at Waterstones.
I like Waterstones.
Or Borders, but like Borders.
Or Borders.
They just sell everything, wouldn't they? They wouldn't just sell books; they sell Blu-rays, DVDs, music, and everything.
Absolutely.
Borders.
But Jules, do you go and off around Plymouth? Do you go to because there's once Purple Haze closed, there wasn't any toy shop or comic shop up until the Final Frontier, and you got the Hive, and now you've got the one that. What's the one down the Barbican called? The
Tuscan Traders. And I don't even live there, and I know
it. Do you sort of, do you know like Julian and those sort of guys as well?
Well, I've known Julian since we were at school, because he was in the year above me at school.
Of course, Julian went to Ed Buckland as well. Of course.
Yeah. So and in his when we were teenagers, we collected sort of comics together, and obviously when we had Purple Haze, I used him in a good way with his Action Man knowledge, which was fantastic. And he would come in and sort out if we would, sometimes people would come in with a suitcase full of Action Man stuff, and there'd be like 10 dolls and masses and masses of stuff, and he'd pull out the rare bits for us to sell separately, the ceremonials and things like that, which was not my area of specialty. But we've always kept in touch. I always say hello when I bump into him now and again, So it's cool.
I always ask him. I always ask him to come on, but he never does. I don't think he's that.
Maybe he's a bit shy.
He's a bit shy. I think Jules is a bit shy. Yeah, he's a lovely man. If he's watching, he's a lovely man.
Would you ever do it again, Jules? Would you ever like to open a shop again and go? Because like you said before about your colleague George and the records. Look how much record collections come back now. I mean, it's come back in a big way.
I've sort of scratched that itch, to be honest, and I sort of enjoy high street retailing now is a very different beast to what it was 20 years ago. And to be honest, you've got to be out of your mind if you're thinking of going and opening a shop on the high street. At the moment, it's just not what it was. Even online is slightly risky. I enjoy what I do. You know, I love making my YouTube as my hobby. You know, it's got to a much bigger size than I ever thought it would, and it seems to be no stopping it. So long may it
because it's
continue.
awesome, Jules. You've got a great channel.
Yeah.
Well, I love doing it. I absolutely love doing it. So this has given my sort of collecting a whole new lease of life. Really, it's got me back into my Star Wars, and I want to upgrade some of my carded figures. I want to upgrade some of my loose figures. I definitely want to get more of it out on display. But you know, that love never went away. It's just by sharing it with my YouTube viewers and interacting in the comments and the feedback you get. It's just fantastic. And you know, I've got so many stories that George and I, when we went to these fairs, you know, the countless NECs that we went to 3 or 4 times a year. We get up there at 5 o'clock in the morning and you see someone rolling in a fairground Dalek ride or something like this. I mean, and the Palatoy employees turning up with boxes, cases of stuff, you know. I remember a deal struck at 6 o'clock at 6 a.m. in the morning with Jim Stevenson, you know, razoring open a 4-pack of Palatoy Death Stars, and he actually opened one. They said I always wanted to look inside one, and he kept the other 3 sealed. You know,
you've got a very mint one in a nice.
It's not bad. Yeah, it's literally got everything, all the plastic inside. It's just missing the instructions. That's the only thing I've not.
Oh yeah, I've got my childhood one there. Yeah. Because I didn't know until recently, because I didn't really look at because I've missed the instructions. I didn't know that it came with stands.
Oh yeah. I was like, did you see them in my? Yeah, did you see that there were 6? Because obviously it was one that I had as a kid. I had the Death Star and the Cantina and the Land Speeder. They were my 3 sort of original playsets. But the original Death Star had 6, and I don't know if you saw my latest sort of figures video.
The yellow one.
The yellow one was from the Cantina, and I had about 15 or so from other Death Star sets that came into the shop. And I would always save the stands, basically, you know. And that's why I got that little hoard of them now, you know, which have proved very useful. It's nice because they're vintage, isn't they? You know, but it would be nice to have 100, so I could get them all out. So, but there were so many things. I mean, I remember we had a case of Gamorrean guards. You know, I don't know how we ended up with them, but they cost us like £1 each. £1 for a carded Gamorrean guard, and we had literally it was like a case of 92, and then there's like another 10 on top, and we had so many, and we were knocking them out at like £15 each in the shop for a carded one. They're yellow bubbles, so the bubbles are yellow back then, but they were just yellow. And it was those sorts of finds where someone had, for some reason, they had just one figure in a baggie, and they had like a box load of them. It would baffle you, but we always bought them. I remember we had hordes of Luke X-Wings, Yemnums, C-3PO with removable limbs. We had a box of them. The Clipper Darth Vader, we bought 100 of them wholesale off Diamond Comics. They were like 70p at the time, you know. So we knocked them out slowly but surely, like a tenner each, you know. There was so much to be found even back then. Were just incredible. Anakin Skywalker's, you know, one of our friends, Steve, he picked up 3,000 in a French warehouse. Can you imagine? It's nuts. So we were never sure with some of it. It was just amazing times, you know, to be a collector. And when you look at the market today, I scratch my head around some of it. I just can't believe it. It's changed so much.
I guess you get to know a lot. You got to know a lot of the UK's sort of toy dealers, I guess, all around. You know,
back then, I got to know most of them. Yeah, Andy Foley, as I said, Jim, Mr. Star Wars Stevenson. I mean, you know, you think I got stories. His stories were unbelievable. I mean, but you knew they were true. They're just fascinating. You know, not just on Star Wars. I remember an unforgettable story. It was a guy. He went to this guy's house, and it was full of Dinky and Corgi cars, right back to the 1940s, and it was like absolutely everything. And you went in the door, you couldn't move. They were all mid-box, and it was at the steps. It was in every single room. And he pulled it all together, and he said easily a couple of £100,000 worth of gear, easily. And he brought a carrier bag with him with 30 grand in cash. And the guy knew what they're worth, but his missus, and he said, well, look, let's sit down and talk money. He said, I've brought this with me. And he starts counting the money out on the table. There's the 30 grand. And he says, it's worth a lot more than that. He said, well, that's all I got, guys. And his missus is there. Come on, you've got to take it. That's it. Took the money. This is his money talk, isn't it? You know what I mean? Yeah, I remember, the 12-inch line, the original 12-inch line. Jim had the only boxes in existence of the ones that never got made. It was Lando, and was it Luke and Leia and Hoth? Was it?
Wow!
But there were 3 figures that were never made, and he had the boxes for them.
Oh my god!
What's he called? I'm trying to remember. It was American that tried to buy them off him. I think it might have been Todd Chamberlain. And he offered, Jim said he'd offered him 100 grand for it, which he turned down.
Turned down 100. Oh, yeah, sit on it for a while, can't you? Yeah.
The thing was with Jim, money was never really the influence. He just liked to have it. He'd like to own it. And when you saw him at a show, he'd have these incredible fancy prices on because some of it was so rare, he just didn't really want to sell it. So he just put a massive price on it, And that was, he was a real character, Jim. And I had a few bits and pieces of him, but his prices were just so expensive. I never really bought that much off him. But there was other dealers that we did, and we did trades with them and that. And there was David Oliver, Andy Foley. As I said, Toy Tony was around. Tony Escovici. I don't think I may have bought a couple of bits off him over the years. Not Star Wars, but other bits.
Do you have any other dealings with the Leicester Toy Shop? Was it? Do you remember the Leicester Toy
Shop? No. I don't know if they were around when George and I were doing it, to be honest.
Okay.
But I know they're on YouTube now, aren't they?
Yeah, they've done a very good series.
They've done well, yeah.
They went over to the UK and came down. They came down.
So what made you start YouTube, Jules? Did you just think, look at all this stuff and think, I've got to make something of this, I've got to...
Yeah, well, when YouTube started back in 2007, I used to have a classic mini car, Right. And I went to a few mini shows when the mini was 45, 50 years old, and I filmed the shows, and I stuck the videos. I used to edit for fun on my computer. So I did a few mini videos, stuck them up on YouTube, didn't really think much about it. And then they got like 20,000 views or something. I thought, wow, that's pretty good. But I was always sort of too busy to do it properly, but I knew that there was a market there for it, and I thought I'm just going to give it a go and just do it as a new sort of hobby, really, something for fun. I certainly didn't do it to get money out of it, but the fact that I am getting an income out of it, and it was quite surprising to me, So
what are you up to already, Jill? What are you up to in subs now?
14.4, something like that. 14,000.
Wow! Congratulations! Yeah, wow, that's an amazing job. Yeah,
it goes up between 300 and 500 a month. It's going up at the moment.
You'll love it, Red 5. Honestly, you'll love your channel. This is it. This is the channel. It's awesome. Do you know what I mean? This is,
but it's quite a mixture. So, not most people say the sort of channel that I do shouldn't really be working because I do old Star Wars, I do old paperbacks and books, I do some retro gaming and emulation videos on running old systems on your mobile phone and things like that. Because I used to be a huge retro collector, and I love your Spectrum streams and that. But I had so much retro stuff. I had to clear it out, and I picked it up alongside my Star Wars stuff. So I had, almost a full run of the Vectrex stuff, including the 3D games. The 2,600 collection was 400 or 500 box games. Really big. The Sega Mega Drive and Genesis system. Yeah. I had sealed. I know you were talking about that the other day on Retro Blasting stream. I had some sealed Mega Drive games that I picked up in France. But one of my biggest collections was a Nintendo Game & Watch, the little handhelds.
Oh, yeah.
They only ever did 59 of them. And I had the full set boxed, and I had a second set, which wasn't quite all there, but they were a loose set. And when I bought the house, I had to sell them basically. So I needed some cash at the time. I thought, well, it was something very small. It was like a couple of boxes really, and they were easy to sell because they were red hot back then. And I think the collection raised about £7,000, which I was over the moon with, because a lot of them were boot sale finds, really, to be honest. But worth a lot more than that now. And I have got a little tinge of regret selling some of my retro stuff, particularly my Spectrum, because I loved it so much as a kid. And I wish I'd say like my Ultimate Play the Game collection, or I had some of the like Jet Set Willie sealed. I had some sealed tapes as well. And my actual models, the different Sinclair stuff I had, was really high quality because I had so much. I'd managed to upgrade it multiple times over the years, so it looked good. So I used to have retro stuff as well. But you've got to draw the line, and I moved towards books and the vintage Star Wars really, with a smattering of other bits and pieces. Like I've got a small Tron collection, a small Black Hole collection, which are other things that I like.
You like Space Lego as well, don't you, Jules? You like
I do,
Space Lego?
actually, and I believe someone on here's got a bit of a fetish for Space Lego. I absolutely love it, and I've got far more than I ever had as a kid, which was only a few of the really most basic.
I've watched all your videos on it.
I know you go, but I've had to pack it away because I've got nowhere for it at the moment. But I still wanted the monorail.
Yes, I want it. It's very expensive. There's a quick question here, Jules. Do you collect anything modern? I don't think you do you? But do you collect any modern toys?
Well, like the vintage collection or the black. No, I've got a couple. I've got a few odd bits and pieces that I really like, like the retro Grand Moff Tarkin, but and a few bits that got signed for me, like Richard Le Parmentier. What is he called? Motti. Admiral Motti getting Chevy signed one of those. And some of the later Boba Fett figures I've got, which came out in the 90s, and I've got some. When it came back, I picked up a few of the THX flyer ones. I've got about 6 of those, I think. But most modern stuff, no, unfortunately not, because where do you stop, really?
I know.
I've got to draw the line. So, but there's lots of vintage I'm still after.
Just there's another question here from Vintage Dave. Does it faint at the prices?
What do you think of the prices now?
I did a couple of videos with Action Figure Grader, John, our great friend over in the States, and I love his videos so much. And it sort of puts me in touch with what some of this stuff is really going for. So all the vintage videos that he puts out, vintage sales, I always watch. On his latest one, he had the Collectible 21 Bell counter display. Remember that one?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I've never gone public with this. This is an exclusive for you guys. All right. So there used to be a Star Wars dealer in Cornwall, in Helston, called Kevin Dickey. Now he was a milk farmer, but he was also a Star Wars dealer. Now this is back in the 80s.
Brilliant.
And from him, I bought the Collectible 21 counter display, mint. It was in a mailer still. £75. This was back in the late 80s, and I then proceeded, as I met some of the actors, to get them signed over their figure. So I'd done Peter Mayhew, Kenny Baker, Peter Diamond as the Tusken Raider, Jeremy Bullock was Boba Fett, and there may have been Dave Prowse was on it as well. And then I went to one of the NEC shows, and I took it up with me to get Anthony Daniels to do it over the C-3PO figure. So he was there signing it in the gold ink pen, I put it to one side, and then I got him to sign a figure and my autograph book. I left the sign behind. I left the belt, if you can believe it.
You forgot it.
Yeah.
You forgot
I've been up since 5 o'clock that day. So I'd driven up to Birmingham. I was really, really tired. And I've thought back about it, and I left it. So I just left it by him. So someone obviously picked it up. Now now and again I've looked for that, but when I see what one's selling for on its own, let alone with 5 or 6 signatures on, it makes you want to cry, doesn't it?
How much does a non-signed one go for then?
Well, according to John's video, it was about $4,000, which I find astonishing. I think I don't know if it was a one-off because we see these prices realized now and again, and I don't know. But so if any of you guys come across that, it was probably mine that I literally just left next to Anthony Daniels, and I don't know, someone probably picked it up and thought, "Oh, this is nice," and just walked away with it.
I tell you what, they're all subbing to you, Jules. All the lads.
You've got about 10 subs already.
Yeah, fantastic.
That's incredible, isn't it?
Well, I think it's great because I think some people just didn't know you were right there, so it's nice to.
It's true.
I don't want to give it to. I don't want to give it away to the lads that have just started to subscribe. So I won't. But there's a video that Jules does, and he's got this cardboard box. And he's got this big table, right? And he starts pulling out these figures, and honestly, when you sat there with your coffee watching it, you go, okay, one or two, and at the end you're like that. You just can't believe what's on his coffee table.
Jules has got a lovely Boba Fett behind him. I don't know if we would. Do
you want to have a look?
Would you show us some of your figures there, Jules? Let's make you big. There we go.
So this one here.
Oh, look at that.
And this is a signed one. So it's signed by Jeremy as well. Met him a few times. He used to be a regular at the shows, didn't he?
You can see the silver. Is that silver?
It is. It's a bit faint in this light. It's not ideal, but the thing is, this was not a rare figure, and it was almost in every single assortment. So I don't know if you know, but there was a chap who would go to the NEC Toy Fair, and he was from Bahrain. And he would come over, and there was a toy shop in Bahrain, a warehouse rather. And the further he went back in time, the older the toys got. And he had cases and cases of this Jedi assortment, which had Boba Fett in. And every time there was an NEC Toy Fair, he posted them over to the UK in advance to take them along to Jim. And Jim bought every box that he had. And he had because I remember he brought over 4 Palatoy cantinas. And that's actually one of the ones I've got myself is from Bahrain.
All right.
Jules, if you had to keep one figure, if you had to only keep one, which one would you keep?
That's a difficult thing to say.
Jules, really toys.
It would be this one behind me.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be Yak.
Yeah.
Right.
It
would be that one.
Palatoy
21.
Hang on. Wrong person. Sorry. There we go.
There we are.
Look at that.
Palatoy,
Look at
that.
That back. Oh,
that's a brilliant back, isn't it?
This is the exact figure I would have bought as a kid. You know?
Yeah,
absolutely. These 12 and 21 backs are the best, but they're out of my price range to try and complete a set. But
just get one.
I've very, very much fallen in love with the Tri-Logo figures. They are just the business, aren't they? So this is
look at that. Just look how pristine and bubbly.
He's crying.
The 12 backs are like the oldest figures, and they've still got the best bubbles. It's crazy.
Proper 70s plastic.
It just lasts forever, won't it? It just lasts forever.
Have you got a carded Hammerhead Star Wars? Because that's easy. Hammerhead your favourite, isn't he?
It's on a. I think it's on a Kenner one. It's on a Kenner Jedi card, and they're my worst. I've got about 30 of them, and they've all yellowed. Most of them have yellowed, And to be honest, if it exists on a Tri-Logo, I'm half-heartedly trying to swap them out to get a Tri-Logo one and get rid of my Kenner one, just because they just look better. I'm never going to own a Tri-Logo General Madine. I'm probably not a Jawa. Or even a Boba Fett, to be honest, just because of the price of them. But the rest of them, I think, are fair game, particularly if you've got one to sell already. I can put that towards maybe getting the Tri-Logo one. I did let a handful go. So there were some figures I had doubles of. So I had a 45-back Death Squad Commander, Empire Strikes Back Palatoy, and that went to a Death Squad Commander Focus Collector. and that was 4 figures. That was an expensive figure, that one. And I sold a small batch of 4 figures to another 4 tri-logos to another collector, which I do sort of regret, but he did pay even more over the odds for the price, to be honest. So I didn't mind. And sometimes it's easy come, easy go, isn't it? So at the time, we were mentioning my retro collection, so I do still collect original Xbox games.
I've got a big box then.
Well, you never know, you might have 1 or 2 I need. I've got in the UK, or rather in Europe, the PAL region, there was just under 900 released, and I've probably got about 500 of those. There's a lot of like very, very similar sports games and things like that. Got some sealed ones as well. I've got most of the real rare ones. There's maybe only 2 or 3 left to get. Real rare ones, and it's just common sort of football-y games. Which
I've got an Xbox One question for you then, because I've got I'm a big fan of the Thief games. Remember the sneak 'em ups, the Thief, and you bash them on the head?
I do.
The bow and arrow with
the bow and arrow. You had to not kill people. I've got that, and people say that's really rare. Is that rare? The dock. It was exclusively on Xbox.
To be honest, I don't know, but I have got it. Yeah,
I'm coming over for a multiplayer.
I don't know if it's rare. I mean, I don't think when I started collecting Xbox back in the, it was a good over 10, 15 years ago. You could just buy huge lots for it's at 50p a game, but I think those days are long gone. The system's 20 years old, and it's become a collectible, which is why I'm glad I got what I did when I did, really.
Jules, have you ever let something go that you've regretted? Like, oh, what did I get rid of that for?
Well, a couple of things, like I mentioned, the Game & Watches. I know why I got rid of it. I was in the middle of buying a house, so I had to do that. So a few Star Wars bits I let go, but it was the right thing to do at the time. I was investing the money in the Xbox stuff, and I wasn't too fussed about letting those bits go, really. Let's think. There was stuff that came through our hands that I wish I didn't sell. As a dealer, there was stuff that we had. I'm a big Beatles fan, and we had a really nice Corgi boxed Yellow Submarine toy, the original. I've got a set of the autographs. I got their original autographs, but I haven't got the Corgi Yellow Submarine. So that was one thing we had, which I regret. There was a lot of Star Wars bits that we had through our hands. So I've got a 12-inch Princess Leia, but at the same time, I could have easily got the 12-inch Clipper Luke Skywalker for just 75 quid, and the dealer had 2 or 3 cases of those, 4 in a case. Didn't I don't know why. I don't know why I picked up the girl instead of the boy. But there you go. That was a regret. Some of the stuff we had in the shop, we had the big Scalextric set, Duel at the Death Star race set, which was like a massive Star Wars themed Scalextric set in effect.
I remember that.
It was sealed.
Brilliant.
It was only 90 quid. That one went, and there was bits like that came through our hands. There was a couple of bits. So when I was at school, I wrote to Peter Cushing. All right, and for me, he was a real idol because he was in Star Wars, but he was also Doctor Who in the 1960s in the 2 Dalek movies. And I was also a huge horror fan, so I sent off a huge bag load of stuff to him in a padded envelope. This is when he was in his final days in a nursing home. It all came back 2 or 3 days later. Everything had been signed, and I had a British Topps Star Wars card. I think he was number 6, Grand Moff Tarkin, and he'd signed that one. But that was my original set, which was hammered. I mean, there were really rough corners in that. And I sold that in Purple Haze, and it included the signed Peter Cushing card. And I'd swapped it for my mint set that I'd upgraded, Can you believe that? So thankfully, I've still put his signature on 2 or 3 bits that I did save. But there was so much that he did sign that I let go, and I do sort of regret that. But what can you do, What can you do?
Yeah.
You can't
hindsight is a very good thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's one of those things, isn't it? But there was lots of opportunity to pick stuff up. I remember the very earliest comic marts George and I went to, one of the London ones. We were flicking through a box of comics, and there was an Amazing Fantasy 15, so first Spider-Man appearance, 150 quid. That's what it was, 150 quid, and that's worth tens of thousands now, But that was the day. It was before it all went mental, basically.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think of they bring out a new Black series now, and you can't get it in the shops, and then they're selling it on eBay for like £120, like not 85. What do you think about that? Because they're brand new.
I think stuff like that kills the market, to be honest. So I always remember when Playmates first released their Star Trek line. Okay, this is back in the 90s, and lots and lots of collectors. The first wave came out as 10 figures. Everyone could buy the whole lot. Then the second wave and the third wave, and they all came out perfectly. Then they released one short packed figure. It was Data, the Data figure, as seen in the red jumpsuit from the episode Redemption. No one could get it for love nor money, and that just instantly turned collectors off. And that was the turning point for Playmates.
I think I'm doing it with us now with the Black Series, Jules, because me and Matt are a massive Black Series collectors, and Tez has dabbled in it and stuff, but it's getting so hard to find them online as well as in the stores. I mean, it's one or the other. We're just starting to pick and choose now who we can find and what we can find. So
you can't be a completist anymore. So
that's the thing, and people like to be a completist. I mean, I'm so guilty because one of the reasons I love collecting vintage paperbacks pre-1970 is because after 1970 books had ISBNs on. But prior to that, the publishers had to use their own numbering system. So often they would start at number 1, and you could think, I'm going to collect the first 100.
That's why I saw the Black Series for the same reason. The red and black boxes had the big black number on it, and that's why exactly the same way.
Yeah. So if they suddenly make 1 or 2 hard to get, then it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. It's just going to annoy people, and they'll give up in the end. So if I was manufacturing these things, I would never do that. I would never make something so ridiculously scarce that it's going to put people off trying to collect the whole lot.
Yeah, the Playmate Star Trek's back this year as well, isn't it? The whole new line, they're bringing them all back.
I quite like the look of them. I'll be selective, I'm going to pick up a few little bits and pieces, I think,
I thought there's so much Star Trek Playmates still out there that you can get it quite cheap, can you? I'm surprised.
Absolutely. But once again, there's a huge market for it. I've been doing a series where I've been chronicling the original Star Trek books, literally from the very earliest ones in the late 60s, then the 70s, really sort of weirdy ones, up to when they did the films, the early Star Trek movies, up to I'm about to start filming the next gen, so I'm up to sort of 86, 87 now. And I've not had a job getting the books, to be honest, really, but I'm in huge job lots. They work out about 50p each, and it's one of those things. It's an easy thing to collect, and I get a lot of enjoyment from that without a lot of outlay.
I think that's the thing. Trying to find something that's easy to collect, and it's not a challenge, isn't it? And you just go mad for it because there is.
I think that's the thing. I mean, I don't mind doing it when it's vintage. You expect the challenge, you expect the prices, but not modern. It's it does take it out. I agree, Matthew. Yeah.
Like this makes me crazy. The vintage collection Star Wars figures are becoming more expensive than the vintage, proper vintage figures.
I'm swaying at the moment. I'm like, I don't know.
Oh, can we just wish? I know it was a couple of days ago now, but can we just wish only one a happy birthday? I know it was a few days ago, but happy birthday, my friend.
I sent him something on Facebook.
Yeah, I did say to him, don't drink too much red wine. I know he likes his red wine.
Yeah.
So,
red wine.
Yeah.
What do you think about today's kids that they're not collecting? I mean, my lad, I buy him a Black Series figure, or he just goes, onto his Switch, which he's not got. He's playing a game which doesn't exist. It's downloaded. There's no physical. Yeah. What do you think about children when they get to our age? They're going to be like kicking themselves because they're going to be trying to collect something which
it doesn't exist. Yeah, it's a different sort of thing. So when my boy's at the moment 15 and a half, but when he was the perfect age, which I think was about 8 or 9, I picked up a vintage Rebel Transport full of figures for him. got him to unpack it, and he did love it. And we mixed it in with the modern figures as well, so people could go in the shops and buy him some more figures for his army, his Star Wars army, and he loved it. But it was just one of many things that he was into. He had at the time an Xbox 360. He had Lego, which was everywhere, and that was very popular. And he had Star Wars Lego as well. So he was immersed in that. And whether he'll have pangs of nostalgia, when in his mid-20s or even 30s, I don't know, but he might, and we just have to wait and see. But I think it's a very, very different age. And I've always, when he was growing up, I'd always encouraged him to buy a physical copy, because then he'd have something second-hand to sell when he got rid of it. But nowadays, I've sort of given up that fight. If he wants to download a game digitally, you go for it, mate. I'm not gonna worry,
Because I've bought a lot of my sons. I bought him because he sort of he liked his. I've got the gunship up there. He liked the prequels films,
Clone Wars and stuff.
Yeah. He sort of grew up on that, but now he's just games, and I've slowly started taking stuff out of his room.
I think it's an age thing too, because I remember our Jude used to love Hot Wheels, used to love Marvel. Oh, the 3/4-inch Marvel from years. As soon as we got him a PlayStation, that was it. You know what I mean? Toys basically took a back burner. So
it's strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, back in the 90s, there were a few lines that I really loved. Batman animated, Spider-Man animated series I loved, and I did collect those when they came out. That was me collecting something quite modern for me, because I'd sort of, I had all the Star Wars at the time. I was looking for and being surrounded by it all the time in the shop. There was stuff coming along that you couldn't resist. I've got all the Simpson figures still. I've got the whole World of Simpson line. I mean,
wow.
Still, and that's massive. That's huge, and I think I'm up to about almost my 20th video of unboxing my Simpsons collection, but I have actually started to offload that to people around the world, bits and pieces that I'm never going to get it out on display, but it's stuff that I bought from when the Simpsons started back in '89. I bought it up to about 2000, and that was a great time for Simpsons, collectibles. And Futurama, stacks and stacks of Futurama. And that's really collectible. Some of that, the really early stuff. So it'll all go eventually, because you can't keep it forever. And I think in my old age, I think I'm going to be doing a lot of reading, and that's the toys and stuff. I don't know really. It's all going to have to go eventually. But
I know it's sad, isn't it?
I know. Our kids will get dementia, and our kids will just steal it from us.
This is it. See, I'd much rather control selling it myself, to be honest. And having a few nice holidays off the proceeds, maybe. So,
we have a question here from Ab. Which original Xbox Star Wars is your favorite? Have you got a favorite Star Wars game or original Xbox?
It was the Battlefronts, because I played those with Sam and the boys. So during lockdown, we went through Halo 1, Halo 2. Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2.
Republic Commando was an awesome game.
I like the old Republic as well. Republic Commando as well. In fact, I've got in my Xbox collection, I've got a little Star Wars patch for Republic Commando. It's like a promotional patch. I keep meaning to dig it out.
They've re-released that now. You can get it on PlayStation 4 now. I was going to get.
Do you go to? Oh, sorry, Matt. Sorry.
Oh, carry on, mate. Carry on.
No, Jules, do you go to the retro game shops in Plymouth? Because there's one on the market, and there's one at Faraday Mill, isn't there?
Well, I did when I was. I've not been to the Faraday Mill one. I used to when I was looking for Xbox games, but they just don't have anything I need, to be honest, anymore.
Go to the one at Faraday Mill, because he's got I buy Spectrum games there, and Xbox One games, and he shows me in his back room, and he's got lots of figures which he doesn't know what to do with yet.
Oh, right.
Go to that one. I'll check it out.
Maybe I will. Maybe I will. I was down there only a couple of weeks back picking up a carpet for the studio, so if I'd have known, I would have popped in then,
Yeah.
Jules, is there a grail? Is there something that you'd really love that you've never had, or you've had that you'd like again?
There's some rare Penguin books that I'd like to get hold of, but they're so they don't exist that we don't know of anyone who's got any. So maybe they're so rare. They were published during the war. Even at the time, they only printed about 6,000 or 7,000, and all of those were then sent overseas to servicemen who were in prisoner of war camps in Germany. So, So they had to survive the war and then come back to the UK. They're pretty thin and hard to come, as you can imagine, And Penguin published 120 of those, and I've got 11. That gives you an idea how rare they are, So that's probably on the book side. It's figure-wise or toy-wise, I always fancied the radio-controlled Jawa Sandcrawler. Never ever owned one. Never even had one as a dealer. Never had one as a dealer.
I've never seen one in a while.
I'll be happy to own a Sandcrawler in any sort, really.
I've got the paper. I've got the
cardboard. I'll be happy with that.
I've got that.
What, the Land of the Jawas?
I've got that one.
Yeah, I've got the Land of the Jawas, but not the radio-controlled one. I suppose that would be my top ship that I'd like to get.
Have you got a Death Star? The American version of the.
We had one in the shop. We had one in the shop, and I didn't bother keeping it. Although I wish I had the little the Dragu figure from it, and that's actually on my wants list. As part of my upgrading the collection.
Thank you.
So
fabulous.
Thank you, fabulous.
But I don't know. There's so many things that come and go. I'd really like one of those, or I'd really like one of these. And I don't know.
He's one of those janners, Danny. He's one of those janners.
Doesn't the accent give it away?
No, Purple Haze, Danny. Danny used to take it to Purple Haze. We used to go there a lot.
So janners is basically mate, then, isn't it? Do you say like I've never heard this before, ever. Janners.
No, there's a couple, because I work in aviation, and there's a couple of people, and they're from Plymouth, and you just call them Janner, right? Janner, that's what you would call them, because they were from Plymouth. But
right, so it's like mate then. But
it's like mate.
It's just
Janner. It's like being called a Scouser or a Brummie or a.
You what?
You what? Yeah.
See. When I come down, Jules, I have to have either doing his pasty. So, and Tez always winds me up by going and standing. He goes and stands by over doing his shop and takes a selfie and sends it to me.
They did the best.
I do like an Ivor Doonies, so I know there's probably better ones out there.
Better than Oggy Oggy pasties, but Ivor Doonies.
Now, Jules, there's a question we ask every guest that comes on USR. Okay, and we all know what's coming. So you get a bag of chips from the fish and chip shop. Do you have them dry, or do you put gravy on them?
I never ever put gravy on them. No way. No.
It's a northern thing.
Shocking, Mr. Burt. Shocking.
It's a northern thing.
Just salt vinegar.
Yes, salt vinegar. But there we go.
You're a salt vinegar,
it's definitely a north-south thing, because every southerner we get on, they say one thing, and the northerners all say
to be dry and crunchy.
You get to Birmingham, and they don't even serve gravy in
no, we know that because we know that.
Yeah, I know that because I went into
it was an Echo, weren't we?
I went into the shop and went, we're up north now, Matt. I want chips and gravy. And he went, we don't do gravy. It's like, fucking hell.
Thanks, Darth Mazar. Thank you.
Look at this.
Thank you,
what a great show.
Thank you. So what's your, I know you're pretty, on the old like repro and stuff, you're pretty liberal on that, aren't you? I know you say on your videos, like you've been banned from certain Facebook groups.
They smacked my hand. I put all of one sticker on a display stand, and that was enough.
That was your.
They basically, I mean, up until that point, I'd had a really good relationship with Echo Base, and
you were sharing your videos. You shared your videos on there, didn't you? I think
absolutely, and no one seemed to mind. And a couple of the admins have bought stuff off me. Referring to what we had earlier. And then I put this video up, and obviously someone watched it. It had only been up an hour or so, and basically it was an ultimatum: take it down, which I was not going to do, or off you go. So I said,
Yeah.
see ya. That was it. And I thought, that's so petty. But I didn't know they were so anti-repro. I wasn't trying to hide anything or anything. But
Right.
there you go. I just wanted the best looking stand that I could get for my first 12. That's all I wanted. And
For yourself, exactly. I know it's weird, isn't it? It is
I
weird.
just don't understand it. You know?
I've got on my same display case. I've got a little rip above Darth Vader, and you know, it's a sticker. And also I got kicked off of Ecco. No, I took myself off of Ecco because when I found out this figure, everybody knows this in the chat. When I found out this figure didn't come with a blaster, I put it on Ecco, and they tried to rip me a new arsehole because I bought this from I bought this from your shop in 1999, and because it's got a little crack in the top, they said, "Oh, you put that in there," and I tried to defend myself, and I just ended up speaking to the admins and saying, "I'm gone. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
just
Yeah.
See you later." Exactly, Terence.
It just doesn't seem worth the trouble, does it? You know?
No, just calm the heck down, people.
Yeah, I mean, it's what's put me off going to something like Ecco Live, you know, because
still go there.
Oh, we go there, yeah.
we go there.
I think you probably wouldn't have. Yeah.
It's sour for me.
Echo Live, money.
That's exactly right. You know, you can play what you want. Don't blame me on chips. What?
Yeah, it did sour the collecting community a little bit for me, and but I know it's such a tiny minority that seem to be on a bit of a high horse. You're never ever going to stop retro or reproduction rather items in any hobby, and it happened with stuff like Corgi and Dinky Cars decades ago. What's the big deal? It's going to happen with Star Wars, particularly with the sort of money involved. It's
stuff degrades
as
well.
Go on, sir. Sorry.
So plastic degrades. In another 40 years, we're going to have to be like buying extra things. Well, we'll be alive. Do you know what I mean? But plastic's not going to last forever. And
thank you, mate. Thank you. I've got another member. Crikey,
Marky Lee's well, brilliant.
Thank you, Marky D.
I'm going to buy a Ferrari.
I think it's funny because people like most of us have got a complete vintage collection, which we've either obtained or kept since our childhood. But I think do you think it's the big anti-repro thing is a new buyers with a lot of money that don't like it, that haven't got maybe a full collection. And get burned,
or they don't have the expertise to understand what's what. But that's where gradings come in. So grading wasn't around when I was collecting, but we've seen it on coins and stamps. Then it went into comics, and now we've got it in action figures, and it's starting to creep into video games
now.
Yeah.
It's happening, and I'm working with Christian at GW to create some paperback cases now. So there you go.
Right.
Because there are some very expensive books out there. You know?
Not only books look nice in that, wouldn't they? Yeah.
But you know, I remember when CGC started back in the 90s, George and I, we thought, well, who are these people? Why are they the self-appointed grading experts who can put their own sort of price on? But they were there and they did it first. And you know, it's a massive multi-million-dollar business now, isn't it? The same as you know, the AFA and you know, UKG. It's big deal, isn't it? You know. And
this as well, let's be honest. It's getting harder and harder every year to find the original, to find the vintage, and prices go extortionate. And I would hate someone who'd like to start collecting vintage to think they can't because they can only get a reproduction. Of course you can. Do you know what I mean? It's not an issue at all.
No. At the very tail end of the years of the shop, in about 2000 or so, we used to order from the Diamond catalogue, you know, the big previews magazine, and we would have the retailer version of that. And they were being offered packs of repro weapons even back then. and that was 20 years ago. And they were probably the
Yeah,
most
it's
basic
nothing new,
Lego
exactly.
weapons at all. But we would never touch them. We didn't order any of those because we had a stack. We had them. It would let like a drawer, and they'd have all the different weapons being sorted out, and we could just match them up with really nice mint figures. You know. Incidentally, when the Toy Tony scandal hit, and because we knew about it, it wasn't a scandal, but we knew someone had bought that collection. George and I had a stall at the NEC, and there was an army of people going around saying, "Have you got any mint figures?" I don't know who these people were, but you just have to think, I just want mint complete figures. What have you got? Anything. And they had a list that they were referring to.
Oh, right. So
and you sort of have to think, were they looking for
to repack? Yeah.
Yeah, mint figures to match them up, you know? I don't know.
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember it.
But now the Toy Tonys are now becoming very collectible. So it's crazy, isn't it?
Because it's mad.
The car backs are nice and mint and the bubbles.
Yeah, like a wheeler dealers.
I did hear he'd actually started selling some again.
Oh yeah, he's always been on eBay under different names. I think we did it on here under before, but yeah. You don't know who to trust it. Yeah.
Talking about repro, talking about repro and like reproducing things. I've received something off Lee today. I think you probably seen it.
Yeah.
You might like this, Jules, being an owner of the Death Star. Make me big, Matt.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. I was doing it just as you was going to say it. Yeah.
Otherwise, this is because Lee is he comes to Manchester. He's designing a Palatoid designed, sort of styled Cloud City Death Star playset, which he's built. But in the meantime, he's gone on to something else and simpler. And he's creating these.
Oh, that's so cool!
It's so good, isn't it? I mean, this is
so good. It's so good.
This is the second prototype he's got.
So he's got a prototype. Isn't that nice?
Yeah, this is the prototype, and I've supported Lee since he's been going for 2 years. So
and we've had him on the channel a couple of weeks ago.
We've had him on the channel. He's got. I mean, all this is taken off the Death Star. He uses Kellogg's cornflakes transfers to inspired as we had as a kid to sort of create the style. But he's making he's got the Echo base, like the back to tank, and he's got another Death Star playset. So this has arrived today. It's just that cardboardness I love of it, and
I love it.
If you haven't got a Death Star and you've got a Stormy Luke, you can now put them in these displays. So I just
70. I just
love it. It's awesome. I mean, there's some photographs on Twitter and stuff which you've probably seen, but and he's even done. He's got these.
Oh yeah, I saw he's got his kids.
They're kids. I know. Look at that.
He's got his kids.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
I think he's in touch with Left Coast because Left Coast makes boxes. So I think that
pins. Yeah.
There's something going on between them. But I just wanted to,
hasn't actually Lee done a picture of him pretending to be the kid, sort of like playing.
Yeah, he's done one of him. Yeah. But when you think you have all these figures. Like Prune Face and Nine Num, you can make a cardboard playset of the Jedi meeting. The
endless, isn't it? It's endless what you can make with them. It's so lovely.
We've been talking today, so you could do so many because you've got figures on the shelf where just stood there, but you could have a background. I mean, there's not many. There's no action features on there, but it's as a display piece. I think it's just like bellissimo.
Superb. I love it. Absolutely love it.
There we go. Just wanted to show that off.
Plastic.
Hey, old Pete. Nice to see you, pal.
Yeah.
Well, we got a question here for Julian. Let's have a look. Which one is it?
Far away.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about the new Star Wars films and TV series? Well, we were going to talk about that.
Good. We were going to talk about this new stuff.
Julian,
segue there, 21st century dude.
Jules is keeping up to date. He does watch all the Book of Boba and the Mandalorian.
He has watched the last episode.
I'm bang up to date on The book of Mandalorian Fett. Yeah. I thought this was brilliant. I thought I really enjoyed it. Great to see Pedro Pascal. He was the right person to play the Mandalorian. He was brilliant in Narcos, if you ever saw that.
That's right, Narcos.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That was the first thing I ever saw him in.
Game of Thrones as well. He was in
course,
that,
absolutely. He was in that as well, wasn't he?
By the mountain,
Yeah, that was Winston, but I thought this week's was great. It was it's ironic since Boba Fett wasn't really in it. So what does that say? But to me, it is looking like the two series are heading together. Looks like they're going to join up.
I think they're trying to copy Marvel by dropping characters in other people's series and try and cross them.
But it seems to work. But I've been getting all the toxicity on Twitter about things.
Lee's here. He's watching.
Oh, there we go. There you go, Lee. I've got to go on there. Thanks, Lee. But it's just like, but the series hasn't finished yet. It's just like waiting. I mean, I know some people who are not watching anything and that they're off social media until the series is finished, and then they can sit and watch the entire episode and then make a decision if they like it. But I love it. I do.
Yeah, I think this week was a standout. At least we were off Tatooine, and that spaceport he visited, and that was so cool. That was really good.
Halo, wasn't it? It was amazing.
Actually seen a few droids as well,
BD droid.
R5 coming back, One I've recently discovered I need to upgrade because the sticker's faded on mine.
Right. Yeah.
Really nice one, 50 quid. It's like bloody hell. I thought that was a tenner. R5
is very collectible, isn't he? So
he's a great figure. I loved it as a kid. I absolutely that and the Power Droid I loved them more than R2, to be honest. They were great figures.
Especially R5's got one of the best car backs as well, isn't it?
He's a really good car back. Oh, there he is. Yeah, Power Droid.
Yeah. In the Ridgeway in Plimpton charity shop, he was there 50p.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
that was like 2 days ago.
Really? Oh, that's brilliant. That's really good.
It's like, keep that one quiet.
Shows there's stuff out there,
Yeah, there is.
I was amazed that I'm going to go back to the Mandalorian. Sorry, Book of Boba Fett. That they didn't actually They didn't give the actual ring a name, did they? The space station an actual name. I don't think it actually came up.
Well, it was Halo, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Halo. It's copied off Halo. Yeah,
there was a Star Wars comic that the Ring of Death, I think it's called.
Was it
Ring of Death?
Yeah, the Ring of Death.
But I couldn't understand if there was like a star or a sun in the middle because the light was bending round it, wasn't it? It was turning, and the light was traveling, and it would go from day to night. As it was
artificial.
They didn't really show the whole ring, did they? It would have been really cool to see the whole thing, but that's just more mystique, I guess.
Yeah, and he got really hurt, didn't he, with the dots? He was like, he really hurt,
and he was making it. It was like it was really heavy, wasn't it? That thing was really heavy. When you see, other people pick it up, and he was really struggling.
Did like the bit where the armor made Grogu some. It looked like chainmail, didn't it?
Chainmail, I think it's chainmail.
And then they tied it in a hanky, and then when he's on that commercial flight, he's got the hanky in his hand, and it's tied like it looked like Grogu, like the ears, didn't it?
Yeah. What's the bet? And you'll see that Galaxy's Edge in the next couple of months. They'll be there to buy, won't they? Little rag you can just buy with that sort of
rag.
Knowing Disney, they'll have it there, and there'll be a Galaxy's Edge.
I had a thing yesterday, but I was on watching Paul's Collectibles doing his book of Boba Fett last night, and I thought, I wonder if Disney are trying to make Boba Fett a little bit not as cool as a Mandalorian on purpose. And the reason I asked that is because if you look at the original trilogy cast in the sequels, they weren't done the best way, were they? And it feels like that in this one. You know what I mean? Where Boba Fett's like taking a step back to the Mandalorian because the Mandalorian is a Disney product. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, maybe. But they're being mean. Disney being mean.
I don't know. It's just funny because everything you see about the Mandalorian, including that episode on Wednesday, is what you'd wanted Boba Fett to be. You wanted Boba Fett to be that sort of stuff, and he's never done. He hasn't done it yet. Now, I was the other way thinking was though maybe they're getting their own back with the Mandalorian because when Boba Fett showed up in the Mandalorian, he was a badass kicking stormtroopers.
Oh yeah, you were like,
yes. He's not done it in this. So I was thinking, have you done that on purpose? So when the Mandalorian does come back, like we saw him on Wednesday, we were more excited to see that than they were Boba Fett.
Yeah, I was mad. Yeah. I didn't expect the entire episode just to be. I thought, oh, they're going to cut away to Jabba's palace, Boba's palace now you call it.
Yeah, I was talking about this before the show started. How we saw the M1 Starfighter, and there was rumors that this was going to appear quite a while ago. I wish I'd bought a loose N1 Starfighter back then because, by the looks of it, a boxed one now, which you could get for 10, 20 quid a while ago, are now going for about 90 to 120 quid on eBay.
I've still got my box as well.
If you've got one, you've got an investment there, and you can't get rid of this. No one wants it, and now everyone wants it. So yeah, and I wish I bought a loose one about a couple of months ago. I was straight on eBay as soon as I watched the program, and they're just going, look at the price, ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching.
Yeah, you had until Tuesday to get it, Matt, for about $20.
Yeah, I know, for $20.
I mean, it could have been an intergalactic milk float. People, prices of milk floats would have gone through the
roof. They'll probably do this every year now. What's not selling all the Cloud City pilot? Oh, right, well, throw him in the Mandalorian.
We'll stick Lando in because poor Lando's a peg warmer, isn't he? Poor Lando.
But I just think it's a nice thing to include. Yeah, you had the pit droids from the prequels, and a few of the you had
Peter.
Peter. Super battle droid, in the Mandalorian, but it had to have a Naboo Starfighter. That was just like,
BD1 as well. Tez from Fallen Order. You had the BD droid.
Oh yeah, you did, on that as well. Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy.
Shabby. What's Jules saying?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, because I was told I was wrong yesterday, which is fair enough. Everyone's up to their opinion. And I suppose I'm right in a way. Somebody said that they wouldn't do that. It's the directors. When they said the directors, I thought, yeah, but this has already been written. This is already, it doesn't matter who's directing it. I mean, they'll bring their own style to directing it, but the show's already been written. The story's already there. It just feels, I don't know, Tez, just sometimes I've just thought about it. I thought, look at the way Luke was. Look at the way Han was. Han was a deadbeat dad who left his kids and was killed at the end. It's like, but look at Rey, look at Finn, look at, and it feels like it's doing it again. It's my opinion. I might be completely wrong. But the way Boba Fett's just plodding along, and all of a sudden the Mandalorian's here, and he takes over, and he does all this, and he's badass, and he's wielding that. You know what I mean? And it's funny because I've enjoyed the book of Boba Fett, but not much has really happened. And the minute it happens, I'm all like, wow, it's another character. It's not Boba Fett. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. Boba Fett's not Boba Fett.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. It's just.
The main thing is, it's still new Star Wars, and that we should be grateful for.
We could be in like 1988 where there's no Star Wars apart from Caravan of Courage. Do you know what I mean? We're so lucky.
I've got one in the loft. I bet loads of people got those in the loft.
Yeah, mine was stored away, and it wasn't what. Obviously, we've moved this week, so I took it out of the box. Yeah. I'll hang that up,
Yeah. What do you think of the Disney the sequels, Jules? What do you think of those?
Oh, I enjoyed them. I mean, as they were coming out, I was seeing them with my boy, and they were an event. I absolutely loved them. I think Star Wars is in my blood, and whatever they come up with, I'll probably love it. I mean, as viewers of my channel will know, I have a massive dislike of Ewoks and the toys and everything to do with them, to be honest, really. But apart from that, the rest of the Star Wars universe is golden, in my opinion.
And murder bears, those murder bears, yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I said Shabby's Shabby's watched. This is why we all get on. Shabby's watched Last Jedi once, haven't you?
Yeah, that was once too much. But yeah.
No, I watched it again the other day, and it's still got me, and I am frustrated of what happened, but I can still. But you got to remember that Star Wars is a generational thing, and we've got to You've got to respect.
There are things. Reynolds said it last week. There are things that you love and dislike about it, but we never turn our back to it ever. I was never one of those people. After coming out the last Jedi, I hate Star Wars and I'm getting rid of it.
No, that's what I don't like. People throwing the toys, I just don't like.
No, I was never one of those people. I just didn't like the last two movies. That it wasn't for me at all. And I think it comes down to that. A lot of people say, "Well, it's because it's not your Star Wars." Then who else's is it? Because I think Star Wars is a personal thing to each of us. We all have our own stories. We all have our own favorite characters, and favorite toys, and favorite scenes. So it just didn't, And I'm a massive, massive Luke fan. Luke's meant more to me as a little boy growing up, and then to see him in that film just didn't work for me. I'm not saying it didn't work. I'm saying it didn't work for me. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I was disappointed. Like happened.
I was heartbroken. I'll be honest. Listen, I'm not a big girl. I'll tell people. So I was heartbroken. Getting up to the age of 44, 45 at the time, watching that movie, I thought, no. Do you know what I mean? But then he came in The Mandalorian, and he's awesome in The Mandalorian. So, that's why I didn't turn my back on it, because I knew one day they'd bring him back, and when they did bring him back, he was fantastic. So,
yeah, that Jar Jar Binks coming back, that'd be good. Yeah,
I freaking loved
got no problem with Jar Jar. Yeah,
on whenever it was on the 10th of May 1999, I was barely laughing at Jar Jar Binks with everybody else in the cinema when they were watching Phantom Menace, and then 2 days later, I hated. I had a backpack with big teddy bear backpack with Jar Jar Binks backpack. I loved it.
One day we'll have to do that. One day we'll have to do a sequel show. We'll get people on that like it, get people on the Aren't Shoes show, and have a nice debate about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same. I like all the new films. I've got no problem with them. I just
right, yeah. And that's great.
I switch off and just think, oh, it's Star Wars, and it's just more Star Wars to me, and I just absorb it. But I do like.
It would be nice because we've all got different things, but I think on USR especially, we all respect each other's opinions, so we can have a nice conversation. I know one thinks one way, and I know Matt's collection, and you do think another. So I think it'll be good.
People just say you're wrong, and that's it. I'm right. And it's like, no one's wrong. Everyone's got their own. Yeah, everyone's got their own.
We're lucky. We're a lucky generation, really.
Yeah, we are.
We're nearly in our fifth. I'm nearly, in our 50s nearly, and it's like we're still getting Star Wars. Thank God.
Gills. Well, that's the thing. I mean, I'd love to be the same as Jules. I mean, I've told you lads before, the experience around The Force Awakens was fantastic. All the hype, all the toys, absolutely loved it. So
when the trailer dropped in November, I was in tears, handing the phone to my wife, going, "Look at the trailer." She goes, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah. That was a brilliant trailer, though, wasn't it?
It was a fantastic trailer. Yeah, fantastic trailer.
So we've got somebody here fixing something loud.
You got someone what?
Oh, fans too, huh? Yeah.
What's going on, Shabby? Tell him to shut up.
Thank you.
Is that Jen? Is that Jen?
Gentleman coming round to fix something. I don't think he knew I was online.
Oh, right.
You're looking a bit. You're freezing a bit now, Shabby. I don't know.
He's fixing. He's not fixing your internet.
Is he fixing your internet again? Is he?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably fixing it. Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, that's fine. There. Let's get some. Oh, New Zealand! Wow.
Has got.
I think Rod Reese's fault. Yeah. Oh, yeah. What's he fixing, Shabby?
Rodriguez
is fixing something. Talking away to Jen. What the hell?
I know. Fixing the plumbing. Yeah.
I'm trying to get some of that. Look great. Yeah. Oh, yes. I mean, I just enjoyed Book of Boba Fett all the way through. Just take it for what it is. And just a bit of fun. I know they're probably saying Toni Morrison might speak too much. Boba Fett speaks a bit too much, but I really love it. Yeah. I
mean, I made that silly recut of the Vesper chase. I didn't recut it because I thought the Vespers were terrible. I just thought it was a really badly paced chase scene. I think I approved it. so I'm sure there's lots of Black Series collectors out there. If they brought out the red Vespa with the girl on it, and the black, I'm sure they'll throw that. Of course, they'll throw the money at it.
Hi, David.
Hi, David.
Hey, Dave. Good stream last night. Was it Dave's stream last night, or was it
Bass's
stream?
Yeah.
Hi, Red 5.
Hi, Red 5.
Okay.
Yeah, has everyone been seeing Red 5's pictures? He's been respraying
respraying the
Royal Starship.
Royal
and he's
Starship.
actually made it chrome, real shiny.
Fixing it. He's done a great job, hasn't he? Great job.
It looks better. Are you going to get yours down from the attic, Matt, and spray it?
Nah, mine's staying in the box. In the box. Keep it in the box. Yeah, I've got nowhere to put it. It's like
it's huge. Is it huge?
It's huge. Yeah. It's ginormous. Yeah, it's one of the biggest vehicles they've done for a long time.
Yeah. I always wanted that and the Genosian Arena.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I bet Jules has got 10 under the table.
I would know the room for it.
Yeah. That's a good point, what Jonathan makes. You're exactly right. But listen, we've got how many episodes is more to go? 2?
2 more. 2 more.
2 more.
They could, I hope they're an hour and a half each.
Well, some people are saying he's going to go and meet Grogu. I don't think I think they would just leave that for the third series.
I know he said it at the end of it, but he also remember the Bo-Katan one when she said that go and see Ahsoka, and it wasn't the next episode; it was the episode after. So
he's got the N1 Starfighter because people are going, oh, he hasn't. How can he just go? How can he collect bounty with that N1 just? Started, the N1 fighter.
He's got a back thing, hasn't he? So he can
he wants that because he wants to go and check on Grogu. So that'll be the next thing, I think.
Yeah.
They have to do it now, really.
I think he might have, I thought he might have that BD1 droid and to have that as his new little friend because they're cute, those little droids. Yeah. I thought that'd be their way of getting around it, so you'd all fall in love with the little robot instead. Yeah. But Carl Kestis has got that robot, so you're like, you're pushing your luck having him with being with another. Yeah.
Can I ask a quick question? Has anybody else dated a Jawa? And are they
a bit furry? They're a bit furry.
I thought
that was great. That was talking when she's talking Jawa. I know a lot of people don't like the lady and think she's not really. I think she's great. I thought that made me laugh. I was in hysterics. Yeah. Oh, what's he saying? Oh, Shabby's all right now. He's looking a bit better now. He's a bit.
It looks better now. Right.
Yeah. Don't move too much, Shabby. Don't move too
much.
Is there anyone in the chat when I ask Jules any questions? I'm going to catch
up. Well, I'm here. Yeah, we got the last 10 minutes.
Yeah. Anyone ask Jules any more questions? I'll catch up. Yeah. So I'm going to ask Jules a question. So Doctor Who, is Tom Baker one of your big favourites? I mean, is that one of your
photographs?
Yeah. Did you see that? I met him as a kid.
That's it. That's what I thought. Yeah.
In Dingles.
I've met Tom Baker a few times over the years. I met him when I was about 8, and he did a signing in Dingles as the Doctor. Then I met him in the Theatre Royal, he was down. That was when I was 14. And we interviewed him for a Doctor Who fanzine I used to do with a buddy of mine at school. Then he came and did a signing in the shop when his autobiography came out. So he came into Purple Haze and signed all our stock. That was mid-90s. I've seen him a couple of times since then. But no, my favourite Doctor was John Pertwee.
All right.
And I met Pertwee 2 or 3 times over the years.
Oh, wow.
I actually had a little role in Doctor Who. Did you know I was in the show?
Oh, really?
So I used to do a bit of acting. So this is when we had Purple Haze. I started doing just extra work as a background artist, and I did some casualties, and because they were just filmed up the road from us in Bristol. So I did some casualty, and I did some adverts, and then I did. I'm in Devon, and we're right next to Cornwall. lots of things got filmed down in Cornwall. So I did at King Arthur with Clive Owen, and I was in Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland.
All
I was in
right.
that one, which is
I
quite cool.
was in the line. I was in the line down at the Barbican to get us an extra. They didn't choose me.
Did you get in it?
I know they turned me away.
Oh.
I remember.
The thing was, I had a couple of agents. I still do, in fact, but I haven't done anything for ages. And because I was already, I guess, established, I didn't really need to do that. They just sort of said, "Yeah, we got a couple of days down in Charlestown, in Cornwall, which is where I did my bit." So my mate of mine did some in Anthony House, which was at the very start of the movie. I'm in the very, very last
scene of the movie.
Stick it up again. So it's cool. But yeah, one of the best things I ever did was a Doctor Who. I was in Rise of the Cybermen with David Tennant. So I was
he's coming back, isn't he, David Tennant? Is that the
new? Yeah.
So I was like a photographer at this party, and I get killed by a Cyberman.
In the mansion, the party at the mansion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember that through the windows? Yeah. If you go back and watch that, I'm in that for the last 15 minutes.
Okay, that's it. Can everyone watch it?
So there you go. But I did some other stuff here, like a Miss Marple and other stuff that's filmed down here, over the years. But not a lot recently, because you got to be available at the drop of a hat, really. And the Doctor Who, I got a phone call Friday, and it was filming like Monday. So, and that was 3 days on Doctor Who, which is absolutely epic. As you can imagine.
We have a question here from Connor about a book. He says, "I've always wanted my first edition copy of The Christmas Carol. Have you one in your collection?"
No. Sadly not. So, A Christmas Carol is obviously written by Charles Dickens, and all Dickens books came out monthly. So he would release like a chapter a month. So one of his something like Christmas Carol, which has got maybe 8 or 10 chapters, would have been released like that. And that's how Dickens released it. They were almost like a part work. And he was one of the first authors to ever do it. And he was also the best-selling author at the time. When he was around, he sold more than anybody.
It's like might be an early soap opera.
Exactly right. And people will be there queuing up, ready for the next installment to go out. That's what they were like, So the first editions of Dickens's books are each chapter bound up together, and then maybe 10 or so years later, they finally got put into a 1-volume edition. But sadly, I've got I've got a set of Dickens from about 1880, and they're beautiful, leather bound, and really, really nice condition. I've not got around to showing them yet on the channel, but it's the complete works, and I'm quite
John's got a question here. Do you have any like prototypes or any original wax sculpts on Canna or Palette?
No, I remember seeing loads of them around in the 90s for classic stuff. I mean, absolutely stacks and stacks of them, particularly Stormtroopers or the Hoth Stormtrooper. I remember waxmans of those, and 2-ups and 3-ups. And I don't even think we had any through our hands when we had the shop, but it's something that's never really interested me, to be honest. Props, maybe. I mean, I sold my outfit from Doctor Who as a prop. And that was just a suit, but someone bought it with some bits and pieces, BBC bits on it,
Case.
Well, to see it.
Sadly not.
Yeah. Was another question here? Just see if there's anyone asking any questions. We've got a couple of minutes left, so I'm trying to check.
Any more questions?
Yeah, one of my friends was
it's flown by tonight, and it's been awesome having you.
One of my friends is an extra, and he's been a thug in EastEnders recently. He's been in the he was in the Alien Covenant, and he was one of the engineers. When they're all when they open,
they all melt.
They all melt. He was one of them. He had the nose put on, and he's done loads of stuff. So it's getting to
the closer you are to London, the more chances of work you've got. I'm quite regional, and you need to be available. So I'm going to back into it when I sort of go into semi-retirement. I'm going to do a bit more extra work, and it's really not for the money, but the experience is something else, you know, and something you'll never forget, particularly if it's something that you really like.
Yeah.
Doctor Who,
I was on Shaggy's Place Pop when I was a kid.
Is it a question?
He loves his story. He loves it.
I was on Shaggy's Place.
We have a question here from Dave. Is there anyone you'd like to meet you haven't met before or didn't get the chance to? Yeah.
I would have loved to have met Alec Guinness. I've got his signature on a couple of bits. I remember doing a Star Trek show for Purple Haze in the 90s, and our dealer's room was right next to Dave Prowse, who was there with his wife. And this is a Star Trek show. Dave Prowse had literally nothing to do with Star Trek at all, ever. But his job was going around all these different shows, wasn't it? So he laid out all his pictures, and he had a little stack of pictures signed by Alec Guinness, and I picked up one of those and got Dave to sign the other side. So I've got a signed by Alec Guinness and Dave Prowse still in my collection. But I would have always liked to have physically met Alec Guinness. Because I admire him as an actor. That would have been fantastic.
Come on, Dave.
Dave wants to know what you collect. He should have been at the beginning.
Come on, Dave.
He collects a lot of Star Wars.
He collects a lot of
retro
Star Wars.
games.
Retro
games. A lot of
books. A lot of books. Yeah. Just sub to his channel.
Yeah, just sub to his channel, Dave.
Get with
I'll
it.
watch.
Bless him.
Dave. Well, okay. Oh, he's having a laugh. Yeah, it's funny.
All right, there we go. All right, Lee.
Right. Well, we'll let Jules go. We'll just
thank you very much, guys.
2 hour.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
No, it's been fantastic. Well, fantastic stream.
It really has.
Enjoyed it.
I've enjoyed myself, so thank you for that, guys.
And if you don't mind, maybe like in the future we'll have you on again if you don't mind. If you enjoyed yourself.
Yeah, of course.
We're hoping to get John on. Hoping to get John on soon, and that's going to be interesting. Talking about bootlegs and all sorts of graded stuff. He looks graded.
It'd be nice to sort of have a get
Jules what he does.
People just saying fun stream on that. And that.
Thanks, G4.
Well done, awesome episode.
Cheers, Mark.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Am I? Shabby's hosting next week, isn't he?
I think you are, Tez. I think you are.
It's me again.
Yeah, I'm having a week off next week. You can host.
There's a lot of love in there for Jules. So there's a lot of love. Yeah. So.
Thank you very much, guys. I really enjoyed it.
We've got a few more fans.
I'll come back again soon.
Thanks, Jules.
Jules. Well, on that note, we're going to leave you. Leave you. So thank you everyone for watching tonight, and we'll do our wave, and we are going now. We'll see you next Friday. Bye.